Good morning. This is an open meeting of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission on May 26, 2010. First on our agenda today, the Commission will consider whether to propose a rule that would result in a single consolidated audit trail for orders and securities transactions throughout the U.S. equity markets. Second, we will consider adopting amendments to an existing rule that would enhance the quality and timeliness of information available to investors in municipal securities. We're going to begin this morning with the staff's recommendation for a consolidated audit trail. On May 6th, the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped more than 573 points in just 5 minutes of trading and then suddenly reversed, recovering 543 points in about 90 seconds. In the ensuing weeks, the SEC and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission have worked together to determine both the cause of those events and the factors that may have exacerbated the volatility. But the SEC's efforts to reconstruct the trading on that day are substantially more challenging and time-consuming than we would have liked because no standardized automated system exists to collect data across the various trading venues, products, and market participants. On May 6th, more than 19 billion shares of stock were traded across multiple markets, each with its own individual and in some cases incomplete data collection approach. Today, stock market regulators tracking suspicious activity or reconstructing an unusual event must obtain and merge an immense volume of disparate data from a number of different markets and market participants. The technology for collecting data and surveilling our markets can be as much as 2 decades behind the technology currently used by those we regulate. As a result, there is an intense need for regulators to have efficient access to a far more robust and effective cross-market order and execution tracking system. As a result, last summer we convened an agency-wide task force to develop a proposal for a consolidated audit trail, a system that would help regulators keep pace with the new technology and trading patterns in our markets. If adopted and implemented, this consolidated audit trail would, for the first time ever, allow the SEC and self-regulatory organizations to track data across multiple markets, products, and participants simultaneously and in real time. It would allow us to rapidly reconstruct trading activity and to quickly analyze both suspicious trading behavior and unusual market events. Today's proposed rule would require the SROs to develop jointly a national market system plan to create, implement, and maintain a consolidated audit trail. Under the rule, the SROs and their members would be required to collect and provide significant, detailed information regarding each quote and order in an NMS security and provide it to a newly created central repository. The information would capture each step in the life of the order, from receipt or origination through modification, cancellation, routing, and execution of the order. Most of the information would be required to be reported in real time as the event, including receipt, routing, and execution, is occurring. Notably, the proposed rule would require members to provide the central repository information identifying the ultimate customer who generated the order, and it would require members to tag each order with a unique identifier that would stay with that order throughout its life. This information is designed to allow regulators to more easily and quickly identify potentially manipulative activity occurring across markets and through multiple accounts and multiple broker-dealers. Initially, the proposed rule would apply only to NMS securities and listed options, and this is a significant and necessary first step. However, I believe that it's important for the Commission to consider expanding the scope of the consolidated audit trail as soon as practicable to include additional products, giving SROs and the Commission access to a truly comprehensive consolidated audit trail for all securities traded in U.S. markets. Today's actions are part of an ambitious effort by the Commission to strengthen markets and better protect investors' interests. That effort potentially includes restricting the use of flash orders, increasing the transparency of dark pools of liquidity, prohibiting broker-dealers from providing unfiltered access to exchanges, and creating a large trader reporting system. Earlier this year, the SEC issued a concept release on market structure that solicited public comments on steps to minimize short-term volatility and systemic risk. A uniform, consolidated audit trail would be an important next step in our efforts to maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets. One of the things about today's proposal about which I am most pleased is the hard work of the task force that developed the proposal, a task force drawn from across the agency. Staff from the Divisions of Trading and Markets and Enforcement, the Office of Compliance, Inspections and Examinations, and the Division of Risk Strategy and Financial Innovation, and the Office of the General Counsel all worked together from conception of this idea to its proposal in the type of coordinated fashion that exemplifies the best traditions of this agency. I thank them all for their hard work. I also like to thank my colleagues on the Commission and their counsels for their work and comments on the proposed rule. And now I'll turn the meeting over to Robert Cook, Director of the Division of Trading and Markets, to describe the proposal in more detail.